button. So I'm going to do very similar steps. I'm going to do a type tool. I'll call it, let's just say like second button so we know that there's a difference. And here I'm going to hit Shift A. Again, that's to add auto layout. Shift A. And let's go ahead and change the name of this. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and style it so it's a little easier to take a look at. So I'm going to add a color. This time let's go ahead with that similar blue hue, but I'm going to do a little bit of a lighter, like a mid-gray tone, like that. And just to change it up a little bit, I'm going to add rounded corners, like so. So I'm just clicking and pulling, or you can enter, which is, well, this should be like half of that. So I think that sort of looks good. I'm going to change the margins a little bit here. So on the left and right, I can either do it from here, right, on both of these. So that's the inner padding. So you see 21, this is 21. Or I can click on these little pull and do it one at a time. Or also hold, if I'm hovering over this and hold down the Option key, you can see the other side is also being highlighted. So that means I'm going to be expanding both at the same time. So I'm going to do that. And let's say I'm happy with this. This will be the secondary button. So now as I'm selecting this frame, I'm going to press Command R. That way I can edit this immediately. I'm going to type in very similar things. So there's going to be button. But instead of primary, I'm going to type in the word secondary. And then this will be the default view of this. Hit enter. And now I want to make a copy of this. I'm going to hold down the Option key, click and drag, and press Command R on this one. Change it from the word default to hover. And want to go ahead and change the color of this. So for this one, we'll make it white. Add a stroke of 2. And double click to get to the type there. So it'll be inverse. All right, so I got my 2 artworks. I'm going to select all of this, do create component, create component, create component. And I don't want to select both of them and do a combine, right? Because it already exists. Like here is our big button component. So I actually just want to add it into this. So what I'm going to do is you can size this out so it's a little bigger. I'm going to grab these two and actually just stick it in. Once the box turns blue, you know it's going to be added to that. And you can see that the change happening over in the layers panel as well as it shifts in. And that's exactly what I want. I'm going to let go. So now I have these primary and secondary buttons inside of here. And I want to bring this component again down here, but because I have the secondary, you'll notice on the variant properties, I can actually switch between the two. So I can, right now it's selected by default the primary, but I'm going to set it to secondary button. And let's go ahead and center these so it's a little cleaner. And then we can just take a look. So this one's the first one, and this one's the second one, which doesn't do anything because we haven't added the interaction. So I'm going to go back, go to prototype, grab the blue here, let go, drag and let go. I'm going to change it to hover. And it will remember very similar interactions, so it automatically changes it to that. So remember when we first did it, it just said instant. But when we made the modification, it said dissolve, and I also changed the speed time. It actually remembered those two preferences that I did. So it actually applied immediately. that's great. It just saves us time. So I go back to wireframes, hover over this one, hover that one, and all in one asset component. And at any time, I can always change my mind. So if I'm like, okay, I don't like this one to be primary, I can just go back to design, click it, say, no, you know what, it's really a secondary button. And go back, and now you have both secondary buttons.